your bio.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, hi everyone, and welcome to our special bonus Q&A and chat with Chloe Watson. Chloe, I will introduce you. Chloe is an executive turned rural small business owner. She has an amateur blog, which I don't think it's amateur, but called I Am Chloe Louise. She is a mother to Rosie, a toddler currently suffering from a serious case of the terrible twos, and a wife to a dedicated husband, Ian, and he is a plumber. And she's also pregnant and expecting her next little one in March. So she's redirected her focus in relation to her commitments and exploring values, and this has led her to explore the idea behind mum guilt and the struggle as we as mothers and parents experience through the wonderful first few years of parenthood. So making career sacrifices, stepping away from the norm, realigning her priorities and understanding what success actually means has been a wonderful journey for her, and she's really looking forward, and we're looking forward to her sharing that with us. So Chloe, I'll just introduce how we know each other. So we have known each other for a long time now. I think you're probably my longest friendship person that I know. So Chloe and I grew up together. Our mums are best friends, and we're a few years different in age, but we've always been around each other, and basically, well, we call each other sister. We've very close. So and I spoke to Chloe last time I was in Toowoomba, and we had a bit of a chat about this whole mum guilt thing and what it means. And Chloe just she's got a lot of history in it, and she knows what it's all about. So I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to have you join us today and join our members and chat a little bit about it. So I'm going to pass over to you, Chloe, and you can give us a little bit of a background of yourself and you.
Thanks, Sam. Look, you have this knack of making me sound a lot better than I am. Well, you always don't believe in yourself, and I guess that's what a lot of today is about, is the fact that often the reason we're like that is because we haven't given ourselves enough time out to think about, what are we worthy, what are we capable of, what do we deserve. So thanks for that amazing introduction. I am Chloe. I do have a toddler who even this morning was still suffering from a terrible case of the 2-year-old grief that they put their parents through. As much as I love her, this morning I didn't really like her. And then she went off to daycare and I liked her again, so that's okay. I have a corporate background in marketing and communications for higher education. I was with a rural regional university for quite some time upon falling pregnant with Rosie. After, while on mat leave, I think that's where a lot of my passion about this subject of mum guilt really hit home. So we'll get back to that. But whilst on mat leave, I did a lot of self-discovery and understanding, and moved through into another path, into an even more demanding role as an executive for an online health tech company. My role was Chief Operations Officer there, so I obviously had a lot of responsibility and a lot of decision-making, I would say. So I was end of the line for decision-making, so a lot of that pressure fell on my shoulders, and at times it did feel quite heavy. And then from there, I moved. It was a time of more self-discovery, because what I thought I wanted on maternity leave was actually not what I wanted at all. And then I moved through into where I am now, which I'm actually sitting within the business that I'm currently working in. And it's a regional small business based here in Toowoomba. We service a nationwide audience. So only this morning we were talking with Perth and Kalgoorlie. So I I feel like this roller coaster of discovering myself has led me to something I actually never thought I really wanted. And right now I'm probably the happiest I was ever been. So I guess today what we can do is talk about how I discovered I needed to step back. But actually, was it really stepping back? I mean, I'm actually the happiest I've ever been, and I'm growing a business nationally. So, you know, what I thought was success to me is actually not at all what success is to me now. So does that sound good, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely, Chloe. And so I just want to ask you a little bit about when you were working for Inspired Sport, the health tech company. Now, you did a lot of travel when you were working with them, and Rosie was only little, and she'd always be with you. She always went with you, didn't she?
Well,
Yeah,
often she would come with me. Sometimes she would stay at home with my husband, who I'm incredibly grateful for because he's 100% capable of that. But leaving a child under one at home for nights on end with your partner and feeling like you should be there, that was a struggle.
And so what was the sort of, I suppose, you know, going back to that mum guilt, what was the sort of guilt that you had when you were either traveling all the time with her? Because we all know, I know Tori's just been traveling with her little fella for pleasure, but for, you know, it's taking them out of their environment, and we all know what that's like, you know, traveling with them. It can be difficult. You're just parenting in a different location, really. But traveling and then also leaving her behind with Ian, how did that sort of affect you and your mindset and those sorts of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess first and foremost, it was understanding what that emotion was, because as far as I knew, I've just got my dream job. I'm a chief executive officer for an online tech company that's going global within months. How is that not the perfect situation to be in? You know, I've just had a baby and yet I'm still successful. Well, actually, why was I still feeling so empty? And that was why I started to sit and really help myself to understand, hang on, this isn't fulfilling you. So the guilt was, it wasn't that I was working. It wasn't that I was leaving Rosie. It was that I couldn't do the two things I wanted, and that was to work and to be with Rosie. So I guess understanding the guilt was the first step for me, because like I said, it was such an unknown emotion. I'm not a guilty person. I've never felt a need to feel guilty. My husband and I have a very communicatively open relationship. So I've never felt guilty about feeling emotions that I didn't understand, because I've always had an opportunity to talk about them. But when I mentioned to him, I'm not feeling fulfilled, he's like, but you've just got your dream job. We've just had a baby. I was thinking, yeah, but why am I feeling so empty? So stepping into my dream job, but away from my dream role as a mother, there was still something really missing. So that's where that guilt, I started to understand what it meant. And for me, leaving her was hard, but working was important, because whilst on maternity leave, I understood myself. I began to understand I wanted to be a mother. I love being a mother. I get sense of joy out of watching my daughter, you know, develop and do new things. But I don't think that's all I ever want to be. And to some women, they'll never understand that. And I envy them, because to be able to be at stay-at-home mum would be so, and to enjoy it would be something I thought that I would love to do. But actually, I felt like I always needed more. And I always, so there was understanding the guilt, but then there was understanding why I was feeling guilty, and feeling as though, okay, I've got this, okay, I'm on maternity leave. I actually really want to go back to work for some adult conversation and for some PD. I really need to develop myself personally, because I feel like feed times and play times and sleep times are great, but I also need more. So there's the understanding the guilt, and then there's the identifying how you can turn the guilt into you know, something that fulfills you. So leaving Rosie was really hard, but that's why I then moved on, because I understood that I needed to find the fulfillment that that role was giving me and be able to be that mum to Rosie. And traveling, like Sam said, with a toddler or, you know, a junior at all is hard. But then trying to mix work with that, you've got a whole nother level of guilt, and that is, am I giving my job everything I can whilst I'm trying to give my role as a mother everything I can and the love and attention my daughter deserves. So yeah, it's a struggle, Sam, absolutely. But finding that happy medium is why I then decided to move on, was because I needed to step away and take that time to, you know, understand the emotions I was feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Tori, did you have a question there?
I do. So are there any specific techniques that you used kind of in this discovery process, or was it you know, journaling? Was it meditation? Was there anything specific that kind of helped you along the journey of self-discovery?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have actually, bear with me a second, I am still here. Can you see me?
No, but that's okay. We can hear you.
I've actually just made some notes. So, you know, being on tech and then having to use tech often doesn't work out, but that's okay. We'll run with this. I made some notes actually on these, because it's funny how many times I get asked that. I get asked this all the time, and I don't think it's about, I think, yes, okay, helping and sharing the techniques that work for me. But what actually was my biggest learning curve is how I discovered why those techniques worked for me. And what, you know, what will work for me might not work for Sam, may absolutely work for you, Tori. So let me get open my notes and I will share with you, because I've been documenting this journey for quite some time now. So each time I discover something new, I'm like, oh, I need to write that down, because someone might help. This might help someone. So bear with me. So there's a couple of things. First and foremost, one was about the people I was surrounding myself with. So I'm going to pop that back there. Hi. So the people I was surrounding myself with. So, you know, I think as mothers, you know, I'm talking about being a mum, but let's be honest, we're still women, okay? So we still go through these roller coaster journey through our life, and often at times we don't understand ourselves or others, and that's completely fine, because that's why we are who we are, and that's why we, you know, build techniques to get through life. But while discovering this term of mum guilt, which I'm still trying to understand, to be completely honest, I understood that the people I was surrounding myself with were actually not benefiting me. So who was offering me an opportunity to talk about things that weren't child related? Because I love Rosie, and I keep saying this over and over again. I don't have to justify the fact I love my daughter, but I did need more. So I needed groups of women, people, humans I could sit in a room with, and we could talk about things that weren't the last time she went to the toilet, or you know, the last meal she had, or what I'm pureeing today for her to eat for dinner. So discovering and surrounding myself with people who offered benefit to me emotionally, and people who offered benefit to me on a more maybe personal development level. You know, a prime example of this is when I had Rosie, I decided to take advantage of the Queensland government first 6 week program. So our local hospital, they offered a program for women to come in, and they would talk you through the first 6 weeks: sleeping, eating, feeding, parenting, pooing, all things pee. It was good. It was absolutely fantastic. But I walked into that room and I thought, Chloe, you have nothing in common with any of these women. Right, what did I do then? I put myself in the Chloe bracket, which is fine. That's who I am. But I didn't open myself up to more opportunity to meet wonderful people who really added so much value to my life. So I went to this 6-week program, once a week for 6 weeks. I am now incredibly good friends with 3 of those particular women, 3 of whom in any other part of my life wouldn't have given 2 minutes to. And that's not because I'm not giving women time. That's because we run in different circles. We do different things. We have a different corporate background. One person in particular is a teacher. And for me, being in a corporate and in my previous role, sales and marketing orientated role, I was talking to people all day. I was traveling. Whereas if Joe and I had have met we probably wouldn't have met in normal corporate Chloe life, because I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet her. So now they are the people that I rely on. I know that I can go to them for a solid conversation. I know that if I want advice, or if I want time where I can just sit and talk about things that aren't parent related, I can sit and talk to them. On the other hand, another woman in that particular mothers group has led me so many leads for my current business that I'm working in now. She's given me client after client. I didn't understand her and what she did for a living because it wasn't something she wanted to share in our group, and that was completely fine. But now I'm getting work from all over the country because of her. So I think what we need to do is surround ourselves, or put ourselves out of our comfort zone, maybe to a point where we're comfortable. So that sounds like a contradiction, but we need to place ourselves just outside of that zone, just so we feel as though maybe we might learn something. We're not uncomfortable, but we may learn something, and then step back if we're still feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And that's what I did. I went to these groups, and the first week I was like, oh my goodness, I don't think I belong here. By the second week, I left going, okay, that was fun. By the third week, I was like, okay, wow, they've invited me for coffee. Like, I don't even have a job right now. Actually, you do. You're just on maternity leave, but your mind is telling you need more. Maybe this is your more. Maybe you just need a conversation with some women who are going to stimulate your mind. So that, for me, was a coping mechanism. And I still, to this day, I'm about to have my second baby, which I'm obviously very excited about, but I'm so excited that I'll have them by my side because, you know, we've been through it all before. And so that's one thing that I utilized in that tough time to understand me, because I could say to them, hey, do you ever think it'd be cool to go back to work today? And they were like, oh my God, yes. Or Jo, for instance, she was like, no way, man. She's like, if I could be on mat leave for the rest of my life, I would. I love this. Every single day I get to lie there next to my child, and we get to play, and I'm watching him grow. And I was like, wow, we're so different. But that's okay. That's okay to be different. So it was nice to have that variety of personality. I think the second thing I learned to do was let people lead me. So throughout life, I've been very independent, and Sam will tell you, her and I have a lot in common in that respect. It's like, if we want something, we'll go and get it. We'll work hard for it and we'll do it. And that's a great attitude to have. That's so great to have, until you get to a point in your life when you're feeling overwhelmed. There's 2 sacks of potatoes on your shoulders and you're like, I can do this, I can get through it. But actually, can you? Because who's been around you the whole time, putting their hand up, offering you assistance, and subliminally not even realizing you're like, I don't need you. But actually, maybe you do. Prime example of this for me is my family. So I grew up in a very hardworking family. My mum and dad both worked 2 jobs. I was an elite athlete. So my gymnastics, in my case, cost my parents a lot of money, actually, to the fact that the second job that both of my parents had was every single cent of that second job went to my tuition. So I saw my parents work really hard. I saw them struggle financially at times. I saw them sacrificing most things because I wanted to be a gymnast and I had the talent to do it. But that was a great upbringing. I've learned a lot from that. But what I can understand a little bit more about myself in this case is the fact that because I was so determined and my parents were so determined while I was younger, I haven't learnt to rely on anyone, because I've been like, if I wanted to be a successful gymnast, I got in, I trained 40 hours a week, I put in the hard yards, I got over my injuries, I went to physio on my own, because that sport taught me that discipline. And as I've grown older, I've started a business, I've got got through high school quite successfully. I had my very first breakup with my very first boyfriend, who was just a lovely man, but we just didn't connect anymore. Went traveling on my own, got on that plane, went to Europe, spent 2.5 years in London on my own. And that was fine. Never once did I ring and ask for help. And at times it was hard. But I felt like I couldn't, because Chloe, you're an adult now, you need to do this. And then I got to a point where I'd had Rosie and I was getting all these people offering me help. And for me, that was me looking at them going, you don't think I can do this, do you? And so the determined Chloe in me went, you know what, I can do this, and I will show you I can do it. And whilst I was going through this whole discovery phase of whether corporate made me happy, mum made me happy, chief executive officer made me happy, what made me happy, I discovered, you know what, they don't think you're a failure. They actually just realised that, Chloe, you are human and you deserve assistance and help like everyone else does in the world. And when I started accepting those small pieces of assistance, I went, oh, I've got less potatoes on my shoulder. I can actually parent better when I utilise my tribe. Prime example of this, Sam, have I not just called you out of the blue and just had a chat, and then you've got off the phone and gone, that was weird.
Yeah.
and that's my time in the car going, I really need to chat right now. And I never ever would have done that before, but because Sam's put her hand out, and because Sam has been there and done that, and she was going through the same thing at the same time as me with her son Will, I was like, you know what, I can utilise my tribe. I can call Sam and tell her that thinking about buying this business, I'm feeling really nervous. What would she do? How's she going in business? What are the struggles she's got? And I thought, okay, this is when I should have been utilising my tribe earlier. And it has made that mum guilt sink, because at times I have called my mum and said, Mum, would you mind just having Rosie for 5 minutes? I need to vacuum. I just need to get the vacuum out and I just need to vacuum. Can I just drop her over? And guess what Mum says? Oh, thank you so much. I would love to have Rosie. And never once then did I feel guilty, because I thought, I don't do this all the time. I probably should be utilising the people who love me, love my children, love my family as much as I do. And even friends, they offer to cook, clean, feed your family. It's not because they feel sorry for you. It's because they love you and they know that you are human and you can't do this alone. We came from living in tribes. We came from living in packs. What we don't do now is connect. And I am learning more and more every day. I'm not good at it. And I'll put my hand up and say I'm not great at personal connection. I'm great at professional connections. I'll get on the phone and call anyone. But personal connections, I'm a lover. My love language is giving. So for someone to accept my call, I feel like I'm taking. And I need to bury that. And that's what I'm working through at the moment. So the second part of my coping would be for me to learn more to rely on my tribe, and even just, understand that when my husband asks me if I'm okay, he actually just wants to know. He doesn't think that I have a problem. So that's probably a big one, and I'm sure we can all resonate there.
I just want to say, Chloe, sorry. So with what you've said there, I love that, we've got you on today to talk about mum guilt and everything like that. But the great thing is that I think with anyone who has some sort of knowledge in a certain field, it's always really nice to see that they're continuously developing. And I think, Rosie's still young, you're about to have another one. And that's going to change again. And I think it's really nice just for people to hear that they're not alone in the feelings that they're having, and that it's not just a quick fix, send them to daycare and or talk to one person and you'll be fine. Like, it's a constant thing that you're having to develop and grow with. And yeah, so I just really love that you've shared that those strategies, and also that you're still developing them as well. So thank you for that.
I think too, we often think about developing as professionally. And for me, that was definitely the case. I didn't think I was developing unless I was going to some sort of marketing workshop, or, you know, build your techniques to communicate with your customers, or, you know, those type of things. Don't get me wrong, they're so important. And we all need to develop professionally to get further in our career, of course. But there's so much more to development than there is professionally. It's every single day we're developing as humans personally too. And a prime example of this is the journey I've been on in terms of what did I think was success. Absolutely thought I'd hit top success when I took my executive role. It was great. I loved every minute of that job. I learned so much. But success to me didn't mean being away from Rosie for 7 nights a week. At times that was the case. Success didn't mean travelling to and from Brisbane every day if I didn't want to stay. And Toowoomba to Brisbane is about, at the moment, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours with roadwork. So it was a journey and a half. So mind you, I did a lot of podcasting and a lot of development in that time. So that was, you know, that to me wasn't what I valued as success anymore. What I valued as success was to be able to not feel that heaviness that mum guilt had on me, that I didn't get to pick Rosie up for 8 days in a row from daycare. So when I went to pick her up on the 9th day, she asked for Daddy's blue car because his work ute's blue. And I thought, okay, that's fine. I love that you love Dad, but I couldn't help but get this sense of, that I don't feel success anymore because I'm not succeeding in all of the parts of my life. And success didn't mean power or position anymore. Success meant, are you happy, Chloe? Are you fulfilled? Are you doing what you love? So yeah, developing the skills personally to understand that aligned a lot with the personal development I was doing professionally. So yes, thanks, Sam, for mentioning that, because I think as women particularly, we don't give ourselves enough credit. And I know people say that all the time, but we don't allow ourselves to learn because we should just know how to do it. And I should have just loved being a mum from the beginning. And I don't not love it. I love her and I love my role as a mum, but I also love to work. So that was a learning for me. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit to let ourselves learn, because you don't have to know. You don't have to know how to feel. You don't have to know what to do. You don't have to know where to go. So lean on your people, trust your tribe, and let yourself develop personally, because often the personal part of the development is far more important from the professional part, because we're often already good at what we want to do. So yeah, I really hope that that's given someone out there a bit of inspiration to jump away from the norm. I know Sam mentioned at the beginning that I mentioned stepping away from the norm, and that might be you becoming a parent. You've stepped away from your career and thought, wow, man, this is what I've meant to be my whole life. I have meant to be a mum. I love it. And that is so good, and good on you, and follow that. But for me, stepping away from the norm was me stepping away from the mindset that I had to do everything, because you don't. I don't have to do everything. I don't have to palm away the help I've been offered. I don't have to be an executive in a tech company that's going global to make me happy. What's making me happy is the fact that I can be a mum, I can own a regional business, and I can still work long hours when I need to push out what, you know, to be successful in the current business that I run. So yeah, let's give ourselves some credit. Let's step away from thinking that we have to know everything and have to feel good all the time, and just admit that maybe it's time to understand how to develop personally.
I love that, Chloe. Tori, just before you ask a question, because I can see that you want to ask one, can I just quickly say too that I think you know, one of the things that myself I've struggled with, and I know I've spoken to you, Chloe, about it, is that feeling of feeling as if being a bad mum because of the fact that I want to work. Like you feel like you get that guilt, like you drop your kid off to school and off to daycare and they're crying and you're like, oh, I feel like a terrible mother because I have this, you know, like you said, this other part of me that wants some other sort of success. And so I think that's just, you know, personally, I think we all need to remember that you're not a terrible person if you want, if you're a mother and you're a brilliant mother, and that's amazing, but you're not a terrible person if you want to do more than just that.
Absolutely not.
Especially
Absolutely
in today's day and age.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Sam, because, you know, to be really open today, we are a dual income family. My husband and I need to work to survive. We have a nice house. We have a nice car. We have a lifestyle where my husband's actually from Sydney, so we spend a lot of time traveling to and from there to ensure that he remains within his life down there, because that is so important. And just quickly off topic, I think we forget about them sometimes, you know. I always hear, you know, I'm talking about mum and how I'm feeling as a mum and how I'm feeling as a mum. And I think dads have dad guilt too. Like today's about mum guilt. There isn't a day that Ian doesn't drive out of the driveway and by lunchtime I've got a message going, how was drop off this morning? Is Bubby okay? I think, you know what, he's going through it too. And that was part about me opening up to my network, was like, let's accept the fact that he wants to know how your day is. And if you're having a crap day, tell him. Or let's ask him, how are you feeling today, babe? Are you okay? So, yeah, absolutely. And it's absolutely no harm in wanting to be everything, but you can't be everything. And finding that happy medium, Sam, is absolutely, it's not hard. It's excruciating at times. Excruciating, because like you said before, you want to be the perfect parent. I want to be the perfect parent. And the perfect parent to me is the person that is at home educating their child. That's not what I can do. We can't do that. We can't afford to do that. So I need to create our family's success. It's not just about me. It's creating the success my family needs. That's financial freedom. It's, well, not even financial freedom. It's just being financially comfortable to achieve what we want in life. And I think we always tend to look at bigger and better when we're not a parent. But when we're a parent, it becomes about what can we do to make ourselves function? What can we do as parents? We need to work. So how do we provide the life our children deserve? And that's often when we make these career choices.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you going to ask? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that I love that you said, I mean, I feel bad that I don't want to spend every minute of every day parenting, but I'm a better mother because someone else is doing parenting part-time. I'm a much better mother that I get to go work my brain doing things and then come back and then give Lincoln my full attention. And I think just talking about it and bringing awareness to the fact that we're not alone in these feelings and in these emotions that we have. I think even just talking about it is just such a big step in the right direction for everyone, for the moms that do want to stay home and parent full time, and then for us moms that want to do the juggle, and then
absolutely. And we can't forget about them. We can't forget about those mums that want to do that, because that's beautiful. Honestly, it is. And it doesn't mean you can't personally and professionally develop being a mum. There's so much to learn about children. Honestly, I learn something new about Rosie every day. I'm learning something new about an unborn child every day, just quietly. And it's quite daunting, because I've done this before. How do you not know what's going on with your body, Chloe? I've done this before. And then I'm like, oh, hang on, this is what this is. This is personal development. And I love that, Tori, because we can't forget about those women that want to do that. And that is so great. But we also can't forget about us, the women who need to let everyone know it's okay. I don't want to stay at home with baby every day. I want to have a career. But let's make both of those things work. Let's, like you said, be the best parents we can, because we let someone else do it sometimes for us. Maybe it's 1 day a week for you. In my case, it's 4. Because I'm lucky enough to have an amazing mum who has my daughter once a week for me. And that also alleviates some daycare costs, which is a whole other conversation we can have another time. But it's really important not to forget about those women that want to be mums, but they too can't forget to personally develop, because it's a lonely, lonely journey if you don't.
Absolutely. And I love that you're saying that there's more opportunity than just nap time, playtime, feed time, and that you can go beyond that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam.
No, that's right. I was just going to say, Carla, did you have any questions?
Hi guys, I've been listening very, very intently. Today's my emotional day. I'm sitting here going, oh my God, I resonate with every single thing you're saying, Chloe.
Oh, good.
My biggest challenge, and everything you're saying is 100% on the mark for where I'm at. I think in that one of the last chats that we had and I was involved in, we were talking about how I really struggle with all the different hats that I wear and introducing myself. And my mum hat is one of my biggest struggles. Because I'm constantly feeling like I'm torn away. That mum guilt thing is terrible, but I am definitely in the zone where I can't be a good mum unless I'm active in all my other roles. I'm a far better mum when my kids are at childcare during the day.
Absolutely.
I need that mental time, and it is mental time because I think something you mentioned, the stay-at-home mums, and I totally admire anyone who can be a stay-at-home mum. But
Me too.
I was never built for that. And in my role as a midwife, I'm witness to that every single day. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you can be a stay-at-home mum. And I really appreciate that you're great at that, but that's never going to be me.
Yeah.
But they are the stay-at-home mums, the professional development, I think for them is really important. But we also need I liked what you mentioned, Chloe, about, I'm trying to think how you worded it, but about just making sure that we're this professional development, and I've never heard it referred to as professional development. For me is my nursing, it's quality control for Little Button, it's a whole lot of different things, but I think the professional development and personal development should actually be interchangeable, and I think that's
absolutely
my key takeaway from here. And I use a lot of these sorts of things when I listen to them, because it's how we help each other as women as well, is to pass these messages on. Obviously, that's what this is about.
Yeah. Do you know, I really loved that you mentioned hats, because we need to think about our hats in different brackets. So for me, I wear, as you do, a lot of different hats, but I have my personality hat, or my friendship hat and my wife hat. I've had my whole life to learn that. I've had my whole life to learn about the hat, and I've had my whole life or my whole end of school life to learn skills for my career. That hat, that's fulfilled. I've had my whole life to develop my common sense hat, my public awareness hat. But how long have we had to develop the hat of being a mum?
And it's not changing every day because the kids change the rules.
That's right. So this hat that we're all wearing, and we're all feeling uncomfortable in it because it's kind of tight, and it has one of those daggy drawstrings, and you're like, yeah. And then you're like, hang on, I haven't had my whole life like I have the rest of my life to learn this skill.
Yeah.
Like you loved your career, and you loved working, and you loved your friends and your family and your husband a lot longer than you loved being a mum. So we can't expect for this beautiful angel to arrive into the world and instantly go, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. We can't do that. And that's that additional pressure we were talking about before. Don't put it on yourself. Don't. If that baby comes out and you go, that's all I want to be for the rest of my life, good on you. It's no different than us choosing to be a mum and choosing our career. There's no difference.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much for this discussion. I think there's a lot of women who are going to be very, very helped by it. And
right.
And I didn't clock in as far as unmuting until now, because I've been really emotional sitting there going, oh my God, I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve today.
We're leading on our tribe today. No.
Oh, thank you very much for that, Carla. Thanks for joining in. And thank you, Chloe. We might we'll wrap it up there so that we're not too long and keeping everyone too long. But thank you so much for coming in and chatting. I know I definitely needed this chat today. This morning I dropped Will off and he had my shirt and was pulling and crying, and it was very upsetting this morning. So I was ready for this chat today. So
yeah, good. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming and joining us. And we'll, when we pop your video in as well, we'll pop your link to your blog. I've put one of your blog posts on our blog before, but we'll have to get a few more from you as well. But yeah, thank you so much. And
no, thank you for having me.
Tori, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just the timing of it. I think the awareness of it, it's something we have to talk about, especially being regional. You know, we're isolated as it is. Let's not make it worse. Let's let's talk about these hard things.
And
thank
utilize
you for coming on today.
Yes,
utilize
technology. Utilize your people. Utilize technology. We're not alone. Sam and Tori have created this amazing, team, collaboratively created this space for us to all lean on each other. So let's do it, and let's make sure that we're not weak if we do that. We're actually personally developing and professionally developing from it. So thanks everyone for having me. Thanks, Sam. You know how much I love you, and I'm just so grateful that we can be attached personally and professionally, which I think all women should learn to do. So thanks everyone.
Thanks so much, Chloe.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
See ya. Bye.